been concentrating a lot through the course of the programme on events in Mariupol. One Ukrainian MP saying it was a living hell there. So let's talk to our World Affairs editor, John Simpson, who's here in the studio with me. And John, let's start in Mariupol with Ukraine rejecting that deadline to lay down arms for safe passage out. What is your reading of the offer itself and the rejection?
Well, I think the offer is intended to be to take really that whole southeastern corner of Ukraine for Russia, and Mariupol is the one key element in that, a kind of fortress city. It's a charming place. The thought of what's happened to it is so appalling, but it's a little kind of centre of Ukrainian strength in that whole corner, and if the Ukrainian government loses it, it's lost the corner. So they don't want to just hand it away, right away.
And those are the pictures, some of the latest from Mariupol, and the estimates are between 80% of the city and 90% of the city destroyed. We were talking to Associated Press about their journalists, their accounts of what it is like living through all of this. And you mentioned if Mariupol falls, then the next along the line is Odessa, and we're already seeing shelling of that particular place as well.
You see, I think that's where the whole emphasis of the war is now. Maybe Putin thought that he could get Kyiv because it's just over the border from Belarus, which is on his side. Maybe he thought that was going to be easy and he'd sweep into the capital, take the capital, everybody would have to bow down before him. Of course, we know that's not happened. The Russian forces have been stalled just about everywhere that they've been. But they do have the opportunity of grabbing hold of Mariupol, and as you say, they could go to Odessa, Kherson. They can take that whole section, and then kind of really reinforce their control over Crimea.
You mentioned the capital, of course. Bit by bit, they're trying to encircle Kyiv, and we saw more missile attacks and shelling overnight, that shopping centre that's been hit, and we're going to put those pictures on the screen in a moment, because extraordinary amount of destruction from the latest strikes. But as all of this is going on, where are we with talks?
Well, they have begun. The process of getting some sort of solution has begun. I think the problem is, from both the Russian side and maybe the Ukrainian side too, they both know that we haven't actually reached the point in the war where they're both going to say, okay, that's it, we've probably got what we need, now we can talk about it. I mean, Ukraine obviously wouldn't be able to say that, but Ukraine at least would know that if it doesn't lose more territory, it's going to come out very reasonably well out of this with its independence, which to me always seems to be the key thing. They can lose part of their territory, but they'll still be there as an independent country.
A final thought on one of the things Sergei Lavrov was saying only a couple of days ago, where he said that anyone delivering arms to Ukraine would be a legitimate target. What's your reading of that? How worrying is that in terms of the potential to again broaden this conflict?
Personally, I think we've just got a little bit beyond that danger. I, of course, could be very easily wrong, but it doesn't look to me as though Putin is going to just throw all the toys out of the pram, behave like a nuclear power, and therefore threaten NATO.
But clearly worried about Ukraine being reinforced as the battle is so fierce.
I'm sure he's worried about it. I'm sure he'd like to stop it. But these are threats. It's not actual action. And my feeling is that the countries supplying the weapons will be very careful about how they do it, but the weapons will still get through.
John, thanks very much. We will talk again at the same time tomorrow. Thanks for taking us through some of those key lines of the story today.